the love of music. That's what I have in my life. And I'd just like to share with you now some of the things I love to do, where I love to go. Growing up for me in Ireland was a wonderful experience. It provided a great wealth of things that inspired me as a writer and also as a lover of music. I came to Australia in 1972, and it was only then I started to appreciate my Irishness. And what I love to get involved with now through my life is music, and crack, as we call it in Ireland. The crack is known all throughout Ireland. It makes us tick. And we, the fair-skinned race, have an infectious and, I guess, a well-being that will promise you the world. Mightn't be able to give it to you, but we'll promise it to you. Many great moments in my life are often looking back through the eyes of music and being able to reflect through the years at a song or a piece of music. I need to also give recognition to this gift that we are given. It's an ability for having made an impact in my life and in many lives. You'll find in life a song somewhere, especially at places like the folk festivals where I've been to in Australia, like the National Folk in Canberra. I love to get there at Easter time and listen to many of the presenters that come from all over the world. And the Illawarra Folk Festival is another great venue I like to go to. I love to go to poetry readings around the city as well. In these venues provided by the Fellowship of Australian Writers and other small groups, musicians and writers come to read their work, as well as the folk festivals that provide a platform to read and perform as well. And many talented artists come from all kinds of backgrounds, both local and international. And wherever you go and you meet these people, there is a music, there is a love, there is an education, there is an outlook of life in this world through the vision of songwriters and through the music that they bring and the words that they write. There are songs and music that have been written about hard times, poverty and famine, riddled not just in the Irish history, but third world countries today. And many musicians and poets also have had a mission to write and leave a legacy for the future. And today we share an image of what life is really like for us, so that in the future maybe other generations may see what life was like in the place and the time that we now find ourselves living in. And we as enjoyers of music, and we as writers and poets and songwriters and musicians, we have a legacy not only to write and leave a legacy and to have some source of impact or strength for others to be proud of in a passionate way that live in the world today gripped by wars and conflict. Thankfully, we can somehow find words to express how we feel rather than to destroy what we don't agree with. And coming together time after time in venues and places like, as I said, music venues, not just festivals and places where you can go and sit in a cafe and read your work. I love also to go to the pub. Sometimes, you know, the Irish have this great ability to go to a session time, and I was involved for many years in the Southern Highlands with folk music, and we'd have a little club where we'd have a mobile folk group, and we'd go from pub to pub and once a week and bring our songs and our music. So the love of sharing music as well is something in my life that is very pertinent. Of course, many people who love music too, it does demand time. It does demand that you drop things that maybe you'd like to be doing with family or friends, and that you sacrifice that time to share with others on a bigger audience. what you're trying to do as a witness in the world through the gift that you have been given. Even though we are many different cultures here in Australia, there's the same answer that we can find. We must never become lost or confused amid the aggression that surrounds us in the world today. As writers and poets, we can make a mark, we can sing a song, we can write or create something for life that makes other lives, and maybe a kind of a similar tangent with creeds, cultures, with a vision of hope, so that we can become part of a future here today that we're living in. Let us sing and write together the same song. Let us all enjoy that expression of the written word and the sound of music that we can create. Isn't that what we all should be doing somehow today in the world we live in? Many talented people around this country and other countries do love to play their music, do love to write songs. I'm going to just talk a little bit more about that. Yes, music is life, and life is music. The need to share it with other people creates a harmony between us. Music has an important role in the lives of countless people throughout the generations past and with those still to come. Here today in the 21st century, music is a big business. It has become a global, marketable, successful product controlled by people who decide what will be accepted and who will become famous in their time. At times it's good to take a step back and look back at where we are at and where we have been, and maybe try and get some kind of vision of where we should be going regards music, with a soulful vibration filled with whatever it is that touches us in our existence in the world. It can be related to a song, to music, or to something we've read or written. Much importance can be put on money and not much on the gift. And I'd like to just say that the truth of our existence is like the gift of music. It's there to be enjoyed, to be seen, and to be heard. And we need always to live in harmony. In Ireland every summer there are many folk festivals that are a wonderful way to see the country going from festival to festival. And wherever you go, whatever country that you live in, you can get an idea of the people of that country through the music that they play and the things that they write and say. And from the very beginning of time, when sound first gave its anthem to life, I guess an accompanying harmony would be a translation of that into music in the world. God's love for creation swept across the hills and plains with a voice gently rolling through the existence as life began to emerge in valleys and mountains and on the sea. And before rock and roll existed, there was blues, there was gospel, and beyond this was what we call classical music. And looking back into the mists of time, the music that was played then was on harps, pipes, lyres, ancient stringed instruments and trumpets and horns and flutes. Everything was blasted out in songs of praise to the creator of life, and ancient tribes hammered out some drum or even on a piece of wood or on an animal's skin, a sound, a vibration that expressed how they felt. And then with the discovery of radio waves, it wasn't long until music was recorded for broadcasting. And then along came the big thing, of course, again, money, business, the music business. But if you go out to the festivals, if you go out to the pubs, and if you get involved in a greater sense of the word, listening and enjoying music, and getting away from the aspect of making money out of the whole thing, that's where I love to go. I love to go and listen and be part of those people in the festivals. You talk to them, you see them. That's their life. It's not about money. It's about what they can create. And to be involved with that and to be experiencing all of that, it's uplifting and it gives you a different vision of life. here in Australia, we love life, and we invite other countries to share our vision of hope so we can all advance Australia further. I love the folk festivals around this country, from Port Fairy to Brunswick, to the National in Canberra, to the Illawarra, and the other festivals around Adelaide, the Fringe, and all of what we're trying to do with music, with poetry, with writing, and even comedy. All of these festivals are a celebration of life, and what a great wealth we hold. What a great sense of mysticism that we can bring into the world today, to sing and express and to state how we feel and what life is all about. Some of the people I've met over the years that go along to the festivals are a long list of people. Recently this year I caught up with Michael Fix and the Fagans, and to Pete Seeger's wife, and the other people I've come to know in recent years were people like Chris Duncan and two very fine musicians from the Southern Highlands, Liz Doherty, Nancy Kerr. Nancy, of course, related to James Fagan, and they're now based themselves in Ireland. Then there's people there who call themselves the modern day, what would they be called? Modern day Shanachais, storytellers. In Ireland many years ago, the Shanachai was a person who went from village to village telling the news about what was going on in that particular village, because there was no radio and there was no TV. So their job was to go around telling people in the other villages what was going on. And those Shanachais, modern day Shanachais, are presenting themselves on an international basis, going from festival to festival, explaining what's going on in their country on the music scene and beyond. And then, of course, you also have people who strut their stuff, like the Irish step dancing people, and the dancers from the Congo, and from other European countries like Poland, who bring their dancers here in their national dress, and you see them parading around the festivals. And there's more to be tasted as well, apart from song and dance and poetry, because there's the international food that you experience at the folk festivals. The wonderful vegetarian food supplied by the Hare Krishna people. And then there's the Irish, of course, with their national flavour, their food and their stews and their potatoes. Of course, not forgetting the pig's feet and cabbage. We love the pig's feet and cabbage and the Ulster fry. There's many delicacies from other countries that present themselves at the folk festivals. There's the Cajun food, and there's the fast food, of course, that is produced for people who are queuing up all night and day, as well as the ice cream. They're always a big hit at the folk festivals, the triple ice creams. The thing about having a taste for music and a taste for culture, it's an insatiable appetite. You can't get enough of it. If you go around not just your own country, then you get a wider, broader appetite that makes you want to maybe go and experience other countries and what they're doing with their music and song. And every time I go to Ireland, it's good to get involved with the way life is progressing there through the eyes of musicians and the live venues and the pubs and the clubs and the festivals. There are many great pubs in Ireland, around Temple Bar, that Bono from U2 has been responsible for the rebuilding of Temple Bar in Dublin. A lot of money has gone into building great venues there, and through a time when there was a lot of hardship and challenge in Dublin, now what a great platform it is where music can actually chew up and spit all that out from its mouth, because there's a great excitement and a great progression with music today in Ireland that casts its own shadow on the hardships of the past. And the hopes that we have, both in Ireland and the Irish immigrants in Australia, and to all the exiles all over the world, is that music can change everything else. And there is a place for it all in the world that we live in. And what a great belief that is. And that gives us perseverance and hope that sometimes can bring a new vision and a new song to write for another generation as long as life goes on. That's some of the things that I love to do and to get involved with. Hope is the gift of music, and everything else will fit into place. I've been presenting in the Southern Highlands a local radio program, an Irish program, for 20 years now, and every Monday night I get myself over there to the studio and I do a program for 2 hours where I interview people who come to the country, and I also interview local people, and I get involved with a network of people around Australia, the Irish Communications Council, the Welfare Bureau, the Irish Embassy, and all of that entails within what I do on the programme. It's not just sitting behind a mic sometimes and playing music, but there's a lot goes into presenting an Irish programme every week, and I continue to do that to this day. It's great to be able to talk to people when you go to the pub or you go to a festival or even on my radio show. I remember one of the quotes that I think was said by Oscar Wilde over the years, that if you think everything seems to be going well, you obviously don't understand the situation. We all always tend to kid ourselves, don't we, that it's okay, the world is fine, we're living in a good place. But it's that escapism, because we can get entrenched in our social closets and sit at home and put the TV on, can't we? And maybe that's when we shouldn't do that. Maybe that's when we should step outside that comfort zone and go out to a pub and listen to a band, and go out to the folk festival and appreciate life, and even turn on the radio and listen to some culture, some music that you haven't actually experienced before. There's no pain like that of refusal. In Ireland, we often think that, why refuse going out with someone? If someone ever asks you, do you want to go out to the pub and see a good band, or do you fancy going away to a festival for the weekend? Never say no, because that opportunity, it might never come again. Thank you for having a listen to what I have to say about the things that I love. And I hope that maybe you too will be loving to do some of those things too. God bless you. Bye for now.